The day I won, I lost. I didn't leave Elena because I stopped loving her. I left her because she was the only person left who could hurt me. And in my world, a vulnerability is just a target with a name. You think isolation is the cost of ambition. It's not. It's the security feature. This isn't a love story. It's a forensic report. And if you're watching this alone at 2 a.m. with your phone face down and your chest tight, you already know how it ends. The shredder's hum becomes a kind of prayer, mechanical, indifferent, absolute. Julian feeds another stack of printed emails into its mouth, watches the blades chew language into confetti. I love you becomes 8,000 strips of nothing. Come back to bed turns to fiber. He's methodical about it, the way surgeons are methodical, the way demolition experts dismantle bombs. His phone glows between his fingers. Elena's face stares up at him from the photo album. Halloween 2 years ago, her vampire makeup smeared from laughing, his arm around her waist. He taps delete. The image blinks out of existence. No confirmation dialogue. No, are you sure? Just gone. Next photo. Elena at the farmer's market, holding up a bunch of purple carrots like they're a trophy. Delete. Elena asleep on his chest, her hair a dark spill across his white t-shirt. Delete. Elena mid-argument, pointing at him, eyes bright with the kind of fury that used to make him hard. Delete. 60 photos, then 100. He develops a rhythm. Tap, swipe, tap, and his breathing matches it, becoming automatic. The boardroom is cold. Someone's cranked the AC down to Arctic. Perfect. Cold helps. Cold keeps the lizard brain dormant. When his thumb starts to ache, he sets the phone face down and presses 2 fingers to his carotid. Counts. 1 Mississippi. 2 Mississippi. The pulse is steady, professional, the heartbeat of someone scheduling a meeting, not erasing a human being from his existence. 60 beats per minute. Textbook. He'd read somewhere that Navy SEALs slow their heart rates before pulling triggers. Autonomic control. The body follows orders when you give them clearly enough. Feel nothing, remember nothing, become nothing. If you say it enough times, the nervous system believes you. The shredder jams. A photograph is caught in the teeth. Their lease agreement, both signatures visible at the bottom. Julian yanks it free, tears it in half manually, feeds each piece in separately. The machine restarts its prayer. His COO had texted him at 2:47 a.m. You good? Julian hadn't responded. He's better than good. He's achieved something most men only pretend at, the place beyond grief, beyond rage, beyond the pathetic bargaining of the heartbroken. He's located the void, and he's built a cathedral there. The phone buzzes, a notification. Elena's name. His pulse doesn't change, not even a flutter. That's how he knows it's working. Elena's name still glows on the screen, but Julian doesn't reach for it. Instead, he pulls up a different file on his laptop, one he hasn't opened in 3 years. The folder's labeled Marcus_lesson.mp4, a single video, time-stamped June 2022, recorded on what looks like a gas station security camera. Marcus Chen, the man who taught Julian everything about leverage, about building empires from spreadsheets and spine. In the grainy footage, Marcus sits in a parked Lexus outside a Walgreens, hands gripping the steering wheel like he's trying to strangle it. His phone is pressed to his ear. Even through the low-res compression, you can see his face crumbling, jaw slack, eyes wet, the structural collapse of a man who'd just been shown a blueprint of his own destruction. Julian had watched this 17 times the week it happened. He watches it now for the 18th. The call lasts 4 minutes. When Marcus hangs up, he sits motionless for another 3, staring through the windshield at nothing. Then he drives away.
6 hours later, he'd wire $2.3 million to an account in the Caymans. 2 weeks after that, he'd lose the Singapore acquisition. 4 months later, his firm would implode. All because his daughter, Sophie, had developed a taste for online poker and borrowed money from the wrong people. Marcus used to tell Julian, "Keep them close. Family is the only thing that matters when the smoke clears." He'd had photos of Sophie everywhere, his desk, his wallet, the background on every device. That love was his religion. It was also his kill switch. Julian had dissected the timeline obsessively, mapped every pressure point. The blackmailers hadn't gone after Marcus directly, too hardened, too defended. Instead, they'd found the soft aperture, a 24-year-old grad student with gambling debts and a father who'd burn his empire to ash before letting his daughter get hurt. Sophie never even knew. Marcus paid, stayed silent, and rotted from the inside out. The lesson calcified in Julian's chest like scar tissue. Attachment is a vulnerability dressed up as virtue. Every person you love is a door someone else can kick down. He closes the laptop. His phone is dark now, Elena's text unanswered, her name fading into the notification graveyard. Marcus had kept his family close and lost everything. Julian is dismantling his, piece by piece, while his heart rate stays flat. That's not cruelty, that's architecture.
The car that waits for Julian isn't empty tonight. It's a memory, 3 years old, idling outside the house he used to call home. October 2022, the night of the Apex merger. His phone had been ringing for 6 hours straight. Lawyers, board members, the SEC liaison who spoke exclusively in hypotheticals. The deal was worth $840 million, but it came with a document the size of a phone book, an NDA so aggressive it had its own table of contents. 10 years of absolute silence, no pillow talk, no casual mentions, no therapy sessions where he let something slip about offshore structures or the creative accounting that made the numbers sing. Elena had texted him at 9:47 p.m. "Please come home. I made lasagna. I need to see your face." He'd arrived at 11:30, found her asleep on the couch, still in her work clothes, the lasagna congealing on the stove. She woke when he came in, groggy and relieved, reaching for him the way drowning people reach for driftwood. "You're here," she said, smiled. "Tell me about your day." That's when the equation rewrote itself in his head. Deposition witness. The words arrived fully formed, like they'd been waiting in his subconscious for permission to surface. If anything went wrong, insider trading allegations, regulatory scrutiny, a board member with a vendetta, Elena would be subpoenaed. Marriage isn't privilege when federal investigators get involved. She'd be compelled to testify about every conversation, every offhand comment he made while brushing his teeth or half asleep on a Sunday morning. Loving her meant arming her with ammunition she didn't know she was carrying. She sat up, tucking hair behind her ear. "Jules, you okay?" He looked at her and performed rapid scenario planning. What does she know? What could she infer? If opposing counsel got her on the stand, could she unintentionally burn his empire to the ground with nothing but honesty? "I have to go back," he said. Her face shifted. "You just got here." "The board needs signatures tonight." "It's almost midnight." Julian's hand was already on the doorknob. Walking out felt like amputating a limb to escape a trap. Brutal, necessary, survivable if he moved fast enough. "I'll be back tomorrow," he lied. Elena stood, lasagna forgotten, her voice fracturing. "You're choosing them over us, again!" Not them, the crown, but she couldn't know that distinction, couldn't understand that keeping her safe meant keeping her distant, that love had become a liability he could no longer afford to carry.
He left without another word. The door closed. The seal was permanent.
Architecture has a cost. Julian learns this while sitting in a restaurant he purchased for $2.7 million, not because he wanted the business, but because he needed the silence. The waiter, a hired mime essentially, trained to read hand signals, sets down the Wagyu without a word. No "enjoy your meal," no "can I get you anything else?" The contract was explicit, 0 unsolicited speech. Julian chews in the kind of quiet most people only experience in sensory deprivation tanks. His net worth has crossed $400 million. His dining companion is the sound of his own jaw working. 3 years since the boardroom, 3 years since the void. The restaurant is empty except for him. He books it entirely, every night, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. The staff arrives, performs their choreography of service, and leaves. No one asks questions. Money has made him a ghost who still needs to eat. On the far wall, a television plays muted news. Julian doesn't watch it, not usually, but tonight something snags his peripheral vision. A human interest piece, soft focus, a couple at a park pushing a stroller, laughing at some private joke. The woman is Elena. His fork stops halfway to his mouth. The Wagyu grows cold. She looks different, hair shorter, no makeup, wearing the kind of sundress she used to call surrender clothes because they required 0 strategy. The man beside her is aggressively normal. Khakis, a polo shirt, the build of someone who jogs but doesn't obsess. He's carrying a diaper bag. They look tired and happy in that specific way new parents do, like they're running on fumes and oxytocin. Julian's pulse ticks up, 65, 70. He feels it against his collar like a betrayal. He sets the fork down, breathes through his nose, 4 counts in, 6 counts out, the way the executive performance coach taught him. His autonomic system obeys. Within 90 seconds, he's back to 60 BPM. The couple on screen kisses. It's graceless, distracted, the kind of kiss that happens between diaper changes. Nothing cinematic about it. Julian realizes he doesn't envy their love. Love is a second mortgage on a soul he's already paid off. What grips him, what makes his chest tighten despite his regulated briefing, is their permission to be weak, their safety to fail without snipers watching. Elena can be tired, can be distracted, can have debt and bad days, and a partner who won't shred her when she stops being useful. Julian signals for the check. The waiter brings it in silence. Outside, his car is waiting. Empty, climate-controlled, secure. The seal on that door, the one Julian closed on Elena, on Marcus's warnings, on every version of himself that believed connection was something other than a structural weakness, never breaks. It calcifies, becomes doctrine. Julian sits now in a studio he doesn't recognize, under lights that make his $8,000 suit look like armor. A camera stares at him with the indifference of a confessional booth. Someone off-screen counts down from 3. He doesn't wait for 1. "You keep searching for work-life balance," he says, voice level, eyes locked on the lens like he's diagnosing the person on the other side. "Let me save you a decade of therapy bills and self-help books. There is no balance at the top. Balance is a mythology sold to people who will never have to make the choice." He leans forward. The light catches the gray at his temples, new since Elena, since the void, since he stopped pretending sleep mattered. At the top, there's only the crown and the skull it slowly crushes. You wear it or you don't. Every friendship you abandon, every call you don't return, every person who says you've changed, they're not wrong. You have changed. You've become something they can't afford to become.
That gap isn't tragedy, it's taxonomy. His hands are folded on the table, steady, no fidgeting, no tells. The isolation you're feeling right now, that cold, creeping sense that nobody really knows you anymore, that's not a defect in your character. It's the final security feature activating. You didn't lose your capacity for trust through some moral failure. You evolved past it. Trust is what people with nothing to lose can afford. You're no longer one of those people. Behind him, the studio is empty. No producer, no audience, just the hum of equipment and the faint smell of new carpet. He'd rented the space for an hour, recorded this in one take. It'll be uploaded by midnight, viewed by 1 million people who will either call him a prophet or a psychopath. Both are correct. "Welcome to the sovereignty," Julian says, and something in his voice shifts. Not warmth exactly, but recognition. Population, you. No friends, no lovers, no back doors into your empire. Just the crown, the silence, and the unassailable knowledge that you chose this, that you're not lonely because you failed at connection. He pauses, lets it land. You're lonely because you're winning. The red light blinks off. Julian sits in the dark, pulse at 60, and feels nothing at all.
You're sitting in the silence right now because you outgrew the people who used to fill it. Is the quiet a sign of your security, or is it the sound of your own skull being crushed? Tell me when you realized you had to become a ghost to keep what you built.